Okay, so this is page 72, okay? The response for the story, excuse me, that I had read earlier, Ancient Saharan Trade Routes. Okay. Now, it says we're going to answer this question to what led West African settlements becoming important centers of trade. Now, we filled in, or you should have filled in, the cause and effect chart that gives us some of our details. Now, we're going to kind of put this all in a paragraph. Now, they give us a hint. In your answer, try using phrases such as one cause was, a second cause was, and so on. Now, this is great and fine to use. Remember, we want those higher thinking phrases. So we're going to say, for instance, or in paragraph 2, it states, okay, or according to the author, something like that. But this is perfectly acceptable to do as well. So if you already wrote your answer, you can always check it with me. Email it to me. I'll be happy to let you know. But for the video, I am always going to follow our TADDW, okay? Because remember, we talked about this a lot, that next year, this is what you follow. Now, you might have a few more, of the details that you might need to add next year, but you guys will have a solid foundation going into 6th grade, and you'll be able to ace all of those responses. Okay, so we're going to turn the question around. It says, what led to West African settlements becoming important trade centers? So we're simply going to say, okay, and I'm going to add in some words. Sometimes you can add in words. So I'm going to say several causes. Okay, so I'm getting rid of the what, and I'm going to say several causes led to West African settlements becoming important centers of trade. Okay, so several causes led to West African settlements. So several causes led West African settlements, okay, to become important centers of trade. And you're probably thinking to yourself, Miss Testa, can't I just answer these questions how I want to? Because maybe you heard that you do not have your state tests, but this format, I know Mrs. Gilio very well, and she likes to use this for all of her short responses. Okay, so I want you to get in the habit now. Don't take that easy way out. Do not be lazy, okay, because that'll make your year hard. You guys know how to do this. All right, we're in March. We've been doing this since the beginning of the year. Next year, it'll be a piece of cake for all of you. Okay? So several causes led to West African settlements to become important centers of trade. So we can say just what we put in our cause chart. If you want to pause the video, flip back, see the causes, that's fine. Again, with my setup, I'm not able to easily do that for you. So I'm going to talk about it, okay? Because I know what we put in our chart. So we're going to say I'm going to try and fit it here, instance, comma, okay? We had the Berber, okay, merchants did what? They set up trade routes. Okay, so Berber, for instance, Berber merchants set up trade routes. Okay, so they set up trade routes. Then what was another cause? Well, we said that the Berber merchants and the African merchants made a profit in their trade. So I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to say according to the text, according to the text, Berber and African merchants made a profit, so trade centers grew. Now, remember how I mentioned next year you might have more than 2 details. We always tell you at least 2. This is going to be one of those cases that we're going to need 3 details because that is what our chart required of us. We have our first detail, okay, that for instance, Berber merchants set up trade routes, and then according to the text, Berber and African merchants made a profit, so trade centers grew. Now, our third detail that we are going to use, that was the profits led to more trade. So you can use whatever phrase you want to use. I'm going to say a final cause, because they said you can use one of these. So I'm going to say a final cause was that the profit made, okay, led to even more trade in the area. Now, what I'm realizing is maybe me writing in pencil is a little hard for you all to see. So in the comments of the video, if you are finding that you're having trouble reading the pencil on the screen, please let me know and I will switch to pen. So I'll have a darker color up there so it's a little bit easier to see. But again, I can't read, your mind, so please, you have to let me know if you're not able to see it. And so we did turn our question around. Several causes led to West African settlements to become important centers of trade. We answered it, okay, in the same type of sentence, gave our details. What's left? W. Okay, wrap it up. So basically, we're going to restate what we said, in the beginning. All of these causes led to West African settlements to become important centers of trade. Now, remember, they only give us a limited amount of lines. So if you know that you are a person who writes kind of big, try your best to write small. I'm trying to write big so that you guys can see it. So sometimes I might go a little bit below the lines. But again, you guys know how you write. If you see how much I write, then make sure you write a little bit smaller. Okay? So in the next video, we will do one more guided practice, and then I will explain the independent practice for lesson 4B.